Like, are you sure you want to do that? The 500 is dangerous and ovals. And well, a couple of hours later, realized that Formula One was dangerous too. From Ayrton to Jules, there was no one in Formula One, and then of course my accident could have been one of those, but it was luckily not. A moment that if you love Formula One, you may have been a haters or you've been a fan of me. I think you must have felt something in that moment. So being able to actually go and see that car, it for sure something unique and very special, and people are lucky to be able to do that.
This is talkSPORT Driving, talkSPORT's motorsports channel here on YouTube. And I'm very pleased to be joined now by former F1 driver, IndyCar driver, and a man who can drive and fly many other things. Mr. Romain Grosjean, how are you doing, Romain? Whereabouts in the world are you at the moment?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for asking. I'm home in Miami, Florida, and just came back from quite a lot of travel, but happy to be home.
Is there a lot of testing at the moment? Is that kind of what's keeping you busy?
I was testing with Lamborghini in Daytona the last few days, and then prior to that, I went to school to get type rated on an airplane, which, when you get to a certain level of aircraft, you need to have special training on those aircraft. So I did that in Kansas. And before that, I was in Mexico. Before that, I was in Austin. And this week, I'm going to Vegas. So busy man.
I've enjoyed seeing you back in the F1 paddock doing some media work. What kind of level of plane can you fly now, out of interest? What rating are you now?
Oh, well, I can, I'm building ours, but I can be paid to fly. That's how far along I went.
Hey, that's pretty good. To be paid to do anything, I think, is an achievement in itself. So congratulations on that. Now, we're speaking 4 years on from, the biggest moment in your career. I know that you don't want to be remembered for this. We spoke before at Mid-Ohio during the IndyCar season, and I know that you've got other accolades in your F1 career that you're much prouder of. But obviously we have, the burnt out chassis of your car is on display at the moment here in London at the F1 exhibition. Does it feel like it was 4 years ago, that incident in Bahrain?
I don't know. No. It feels like it was yesterday and also 10 years ago. It's kind of a weird time frame feeling. You forgot that it was 4 years ago, because it follows me every day, right? I like to joke about the fact that I have a tattoo on my left hand to remind me that it was there. But yeah, for sure, through Netflix and the exhibition and everything, people it's always here. So it doesn't feel like it was 4 years ago, and almost an anniversary time.
Yeah, absolutely. How much do you actually remember about the day itself? Because obviously you've got into that car so many times over the years. Was it just a normal day? I mean, you obviously can't preempt these things, but do you actually remember anything before the crash is basically where I'm going with this?
Yeah, it was just a normal day. It was a normal day, well, the only thing that was a bit different that day is that I had a really good discussion with the head of Honda back in the days, because I was already looking at IndyCar, and I was seeing if Honda could support me to the move in there. And I remember that I had a good conversation. I went to Io Komatsu and said, "Hey, Io, I got a really good conversation with with Honda for the IndyCar." I was like, "Are you sure you want to do that? The 500 is dangerous and ovals." And well, a couple of hours later, realized that Formula One was dangerous too.
Does it become easier to talk about over time? Because I feel like you've spoken about this incident quite a lot, and you've been very generous with your time over the years, but it must have been a struggle to start with.
Surprisingly not. Surprisingly not. I think it's part of what we do. And even though we don't talk about it very often, even though we're very lucky that all our new generation, have not had to deal as much as, think of, all the older drivers, that they were losing friends every other weeks. We've had Jules Bianchi back in 2015. That was tragedy for all of us. But from Ayrton to Jules, there was, no one in Formula One. And then of course, my accident could have been one of those, but it was luckily not. So I think we kind of forgot that it's dangerous, and but it's here, and we know it. We try to control as much as we can, but obviously sometimes there are things that are out of our control. So no, it wasn't hard to speak about it. It's still not really hard to talk about it. And I guess, it's always going to be, part of my story.
Yeah, of course. And that's the thing. You've embraced it. You are the Phoenix. Do you remember the first time you got in a car after that incident? How did you feel then?
I had no idea what to expect. And I was in Barber with the Ilcon Racing testing, and jumped in the car, left the pit lane and got on track, and then didn't think at all about it. All I was thinking was to try to understand how to drive that new car. It was completely new from new IndyCar, steering wheel, button, shift, behavior, no power steering wheel. All of that was my focus, and it wasn't so much about what happened last time I went in a race car. So the brain just completely changed focus and went into like, okay, no, we have to race that thing, and how are we going to race that thing fast?
Absolutely. That's the main thing. And I think it's great that you managed to carry on so quickly. Us as fans, we're very lucky at the moment because, as I say, the burnt out chassis is on display at the Excel Centre in London. It's part of the F1 exhibition, and I was lucky enough to go down there at the start of the exhibition. And it does feel strange as a fan to have watched that moment on TV in my house to then going to see that car and how little of it is left. What have you made of the fan reaction? Because it seems like of all the people I know that have been to the exhibition, that's the one thing that they're all posting photos of, just because of how recent it was, but also what a huge moment it was because of the emotions that people went through.
Yeah, I guess it's a moment that if you love Formula One, you may have been a hater or you've been a fan of me. I think you must have felt something in that moment. So being able to actually go and see that car, it for sure something unique and very special, and people are lucky to be able to do that. Um, for sure, it's crazy to see the cars and the details of the cars and where it's at, and imagine that I was able, to jump out of it and with only a couple of burns, two hands burnt and a broken knee, and but nothing really big. So yeah, it's something unique. It's something that Formula One has been doing very well, and showing people where we are and how much safety has come forward. And of course, there's always things we can do better, and there's always things that we learn each time. But if you're a new Formula One fan, or even if you're a Formula One fan, that moment for sure you will know about that moment, and being able to go and see the car is pretty neat.
It has given you legendary status, and I know that that's perhaps not the reason you wanted to be legendary. I know you're very proud of other accolades that you achieved in Formula One, the podiums. What was your one kind of highest moment, would you say, during your time in F1?
Yeah, it's not easy, right? It's not easy because there's been fantastic times. There's been many podiums. Of course, behind me there's one of the Bahrain, which was my first podium in Formula One, and then the last one with Lotus in 2015 was pretty cool, especially when we had so much trouble with the team financially and got on the podium. Suzuka in 2013, where I led the race for many laps against the Red Bull that was a lot faster. That was pretty cool as well. So yeah, I think those podiums are good. I think I was not always very lucky, and I should maybe have won a couple. But we will not remake history. So yeah, those moments were cool, and then I took a new adventure with Haas and looked really good initially, and Sandy there. It didn't go well the last 2 years, but I think they're coming back to a much nicer level, which is great to see, and I think a lot of it is due to Ayo Komatsu.
Yeah, he seems like someone that's been a good friend and a good supporter of yours. And obviously, you mentioned him before, and talking to him about the future, which means you must have a great relationship with him. We've obviously had Gunter Steiner come on our show quite a lot here, and he's very outspoken about the years of Haas and how he got the team together and everything like that. And obviously, you played a part in that. When you look at the cars now, they are a lot more reliable than they were perhaps when you were racing, which maybe, came into the picture of you not being as successful as you perhaps deserve to be. What do you make of the current kind of battles on track? Because we don't see the cars letting anyone down. So it does just come down to the driver skill and the design and development of these cars.
Yeah, it's been great to see. Start of the season, everyone got a bit worried that Max was going to be dominating everything, but I've got to say that McLaren and Ferrari have come a long way and did a really good job to give us some fantastic racing. Um, I would, if I'm being very honest, I would like to see those track limit issue being sorted. Please put some gravel. it will help a lot.
Hey, I hope so. What do you make of the British press getting a lot of stick for being anti-Max Verstappen? Do you think that's true? Because I know you know all the British pundits from your time there, and you work alongside them now doing media. What do you make of that? Because I think it's a little unfair.
I think I don't go into those type of discussions. I think Max is a fantastic driver. Lando is a fantastic driver. I think there's this thing is being said not necessarily by the driver that are not really relevant and useful to what we like to see. But for sure, Formula One is a very British sport, and of course, British want to support British drivers. So it's normal, but they also, as much as they like their drivers, they also like their sports, and they're being as fair as they can be. So are they going to say an extra nice thing about a British driver? Probably, but that doesn't mean they're going to say an extra bad thing about a non-British driver.
Absolutely. When you look at Charles Leclerc, he's been up and around there. I feel like the Ferraris maybe haven't had enough credit because of the battle between Red Bull and McLaren. You were teammates briefly with Charles Leclerc. What can Lewis Hamilton expect being a teammate with Charles Leclerc next year? Because it looks like the Ferrari is just about getting to where it needs to be, and it might be another masterstroke by Lewis where he changes teams just at the right time.
Yes, Ferrari is definitely a team to keep an eye on, and they're definitely on the rise for next year, which could be super exciting. Lewis could have made the right move at the right time, for sure, joining Fred Vasseur and at Ferrari. But Charles is kind of the kids that they saw growing up there, so it's not going to be easy to manage. I'm not going to lie to you, and for sure, Charles wants his chance to be world champion, and Lewis wants the chance to get that 8th world championship that should probably have had. So it will be good to see. All I really want as a fan is to see Ferraris, McLaren, Red Bull, and hopefully Mercedes being at the front and fighting, and not knowing who's going to be on top of the weekend. And I think that's what makes Formula One exciting.
As long as they stick to the track limits, right?
As long as they stick between the white line and we can put some gravel on the side of the white line, then clears the problem completely.
Or a wall. Like no one's cutting the corner if there's a wall there, right?
But sometimes safety needs to be taken into account. But yes, for sure, I understand the tracks that they want runoff in tarmac. It's cheaper, it's easier, it's less problem with yellow flags or red flags. But also, it's gone to a point that we have been talking about it far too much. So hopefully, we can see a solution.
Yeah, of course. I think that when we look at the damage that Williams got as well, looking back at your career, who was your favorite teammate?
Excellent question. I think Kevin Magnussen.
Okay. And why would K-Mag be your favorite? Because it looks like his story with Haas is coming to an end, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, Fernando, I only spent 9 Grand Prix with him, so it was not easy. Because also he was kind of gone from the team, so didn't get to spend much time with him as much as I wanted to. Kimi Räikkönen was very important in my career to understand what I need from a race car and how I need to set up a weekend. But Kimi was not the most talkative person in the paddock. And then with Kevin, we, after 2019, that we got together a few times, we cleared the air, we talked about it, and then actually we became close and respect a lot what he does for the team. He fights his way as hard as he can to always put the team forward, and is a fantastic driver. So for sure, it was great to have Kevin, and we had those stories, and bang wheels a couple of times, and I think it could have been dealt better with, and that would have helped. But then once we actually took the bulls by the horn and talk about it, the two of us, then everything was perfect.
Do you think he would make a good IndyCar driver? I feel like you guys could be great teammates.
Yeah, he tried a couple of times. He came and he enjoyed it. So I don't know what he wants to do next year. But yeah, for sure, he's definitely got room in racing.
Absolutely. Speaking of next year, you brought it up. What are your plans for next year? Because we've seen you in 3 different teams now in IndyCar, and you mentioned there you were testing with Lamborghini. What does your schedule look like for 2025?
I'm not sure yet, still trying to figure out the way to get on the grid in IndyCar. Always Honko Salinger Racing last year. We had a fantastic season for a team that's only 3 years old, brought it to a very high level. Sadly, there's a financial reality, and the team has been struggling to find sponsors. So that's where we are right now. IMSA, I'm hoping, with Lamborghini, we have a good season. The car is getting faster and faster, which is exciting to see. There's still a lot of work to be done, but definitely we've been going on the right track. So yes, I'm hoping to be on the grid in St. Petersburg in Florida for IndyCar, and before that, I've been Daytona for the 24 hours with the GTP, and that should be exciting.
And will you be flying yourself there out of interest now you're even higher qualified as a pilot? Or will you be being paid to be there maybe by someone flying you? Other drivers maybe?
Who knows? Who knows? But yes, it's Daytona's got a very nice airport, and it's a very nice flight from Miami. So hopefully I can fly there.
Awesome stuff. Well, Romain, thank you very much for taking time out of your very busy schedule to talk to us. I know that obviously, have you been down to the F1 exhibition, whether it's in London or while it's been on tour?
No, I have not. I've heard a lot about it, but I've not been there. Not sure I want to see that chassis.
Okay.
I still don't have the helmet home because I don't know if I feel like it, but I know it's fantastic for the fans to have the chance to see that.
Yeah, we're very lucky. It's on display at Excel at the F1 exhibition until the 2nd of March 2025 here in the United Kingdom in London. So go down and check that out if you fancy it. And Romain, best of luck for 2025, and hopefully we'll catch up again soon.
Exactly. Thank you.